Having the right settings can be a massive deal in Battlefield 2042 and really with any Battlefield game. So today I wanted to go over some very important settings, basically just try to help you have a much better experience that is tailored to you. So we're gonna go over that today. Now without further ado, remember if you do enjoy the video, don't forget to leave it a nice, thick, and juicy like as always. Of course, if you enjoy this kind of content, you want more like it, be sure to hit that big red sexy subscribe button. Also, huge thank you to my channel members. You guys help make these videos possible. But anyway, let's begin. Now, I am on Xbox Series X, and these should apply to pretty much any controller player out there. If you're using controller on PC, I won't be able to do most of the PC settings just because obviously I'm on console. But if you're on a console, a lot of these are going to apply. Actually, all of them are going to apply. So stay tuned. First up is going to be your very general settings. A lot of these are personal preference, so it's totally up to you on a lot of these. Now, there is one on this screen that I would say to take a look at, and that is camera shake amount. If you want a very cinematic experience, go all the way up to 100. If you don't, leave it down at 50. I have it cracked down to 50. It just, again, it's gonna help with like your frame rate and everything like that, and just less distracting things on screen. It's preference. Again, if you want a really cinematic experience, you want more camera shake. If not, turn it down. It does only go as low as 50, so you can't turn it all the way off. It's fine, it's not too bad, but you're still gonna have some camera shake. I do also turn invert vertical look for aircraft on. It's just my personal preference. The other invert looks are kind of odd and I don't use them, but I played a lot of flying games growing up, so I do turn this on for aircraft. Also, crossplay. This is just a big notice for Xbox players. You actually can't turn this off in the game. It's grayed out for some reason. You do actually have to go deep into your Xbox settings to turn that off. I don't know why this is this way on Xbox, but it's grayed out and you can't turn it off. I leave it on, so I haven't actually gone into my settings and done that because I have a lot of friends that play on both PC and PlayStation, and I want to play with them. Does make it annoying that most of the crossplay servers are like 70% PC, but it is what it is. I still just leave it on. Everything else is personal preference. As for the allow followers, this is a big notice for streamers. I've left this on. This is just allowing players to follow you, so they'll be able to find any server that you host, things like that. If you're worried about stream snipers, you can turn that off. I haven't had any issues with stream snipers, so I've left this on. And plus, if you're in Portal, you're hosting a server, you can ban those people, so you don't have to worry about that. But I would keep an eye on that if you are a content creator who does stream. If you ever have issues with stream snipers, just turn that bad boy off. Next up is the display. So field of view is a big setting. This applies to both your infantry and your vehicles. And I also want to get into ADS field of view because that is a very important one. I have this on 84. It is mostly preference as to how you want to do the field of view, but I have it on 84. I know some people really like it to be low and you have that nice zoomed in experience. You don't have to worry about your peripherals. I think the default's like 55. You can go lower than that though. You get more zoom, but it does create more visual recoil and you just can't see anything around you hardly. If you go all the way up, it does zoom you out a lot from what you can see on screen, but you can see a lot more around you. It also has that weird fisheye effect. There are a lot of people I know that play on max FOV. I personally just play on 84. That's just what works best for me now. Now, keep in mind, this is a vertical field of view. So this is different than previous Battlefield games and even most other games. So normally I play on like 96 field of view, but I've turned it down actually because it just felt a little too much to 84, and that feels about right. I would toy around with it. Again, don't just do what you did in previous games because it could feel very different. So far, I'm liking the 84 for me and what I've played with before, but if you like a higher one, absolutely go for a higher one. If not, again, it's totally personal preference. Vehicle field of view is also a big deal because you want to be able to see what is going on around you. So say you're in a tank, you're getting swarmed by the enemy, you're gonna wanna see what's going on, be able to take them out more easily. Similar deal in aircraft, you wanna see the other aircraft around you out on the battlefield. You wanna make sure that you're not getting snuck up on by an attack chopper when you're in a scout heli, things like that. It's very important. But one thing that is super important depending on your play style, I think it's gonna apply to a lot more people who use like SMGs, ARs, even the DMRs, is the ADS field of view. I have this turned on. The reason for that is I'm more of a run and gun player. The nice part about it is it does keep your standard field of view settings. Now there's a couple reasons that this is a good thing. Number one, it's more consistent with what you're seeing on screen, so you don't have this weird ultra zoom in effect whenever you do zoom in if you are playing at a higher field of view. It also helps reduce the visual recoil, so you'll notice sometimes in people's gameplays, it looks like they just have less recoil than usual. Well, number one, that is recoil management, but number two, it is a lot easier with the ADS field of view turned on. This has been something that's been out and about for a while, but if you didn't know, it can really help with managing that recoil. Doesn't mean you're going to be lasering everyone, but it can help quite a bit. If you want to turn it off, pretty much the only reason I would turn this off for me personally is if I was sniping and I felt like I really needed more zoom on my weapon. Because when you're sniping, you're not really worried about recoil or anything like that. You just want to have the best possible visual zoom on targets that you can. So that's totally up to you. But for me, and I think for most people, having it on is going to be the best option. Down here in the graphic settings, this is almost purely personal preference. If you want to go for performance, then turn motion blur, chromatic aberration, film grain, vignette, lens distortion, turn them all off. Turning down motion blur, I think for PC players will actually hurt your frame rate a little bit, like a minor amount, but it will help with gameplay. Same with the rest of this. It just keeps stuff off the screen, so you're not going to have all these weird flashes and blur and things like that on screen that can be very annoying in the middle of a bunch of chaos. It just helps to clean it up. If you want a very cinematic experience, go for it, but I wouldn't if you're not going for a purely cinematic experience. I would go with all these turned off, except as the HUD general. Again, a lot of personal preference. Obviously, a lot of people are going to have the HUD turned on unless you're playing hardcore. HUD motion, I've left this on. It's not a big deal, but there is a similar setting to this that we will get to in a minute that I do want to talk about. Having this particular one turned on seems fine to me, but I'll get to the other one here soon. Camera shake amount, we've already gone over. Soldier compass, leave on. This can be really great for squad play, calling out enemies. Instead of saying, hey, there's a guy over there by the bush, and there's a billion bushes on the map, that's very vague. Having this and saying, hey, there's a guy at 35 north, you can find him a lot easier, and it really helps with team play and be able to call out enemies. Show the vehicle seat, leave on. Colorblind, this is important if you are colorblind, even if you're not. So everyone take a nice gander at the different colors that I've selected for this game. So just take a quick gander at them. Look how vibrant they are, how beautiful they are. Now look at the default ones. Now look at the colorblind filters. I don't know why they picked the most faded, dull colors for the different colorblind filters and just for the general heads-up display. I can't do it. Even if I wasn't colorblind, I'd be going with these vibrant bad boys right here. It makes it so much easier to distinctify your enemies, your teammates, your squad mates. Just so much easier to ID people. I really like that they let us be able to customize this because it's so dull. Look at the Tritanopia is the closest to what I have. Look how dull that is. Now look at mine. Seriously, I don't understand it. Again, customize these to whatever color you want, but I would definitely recommend making them more vibrant than what the default ones are. It's really a nice setting to have that we can change that. Kill log, this is also important. Leave it on if you want it to have it on, but I would recommend setting it to nearby. Having it on all, team, squad, or even self is almost pointless. If someone kills a guy across the map and is teabagging him, who cares? It's not relevant to you. But if there's a guy nearby destroying your team, that is relevant to you and you need to take that guy out. So I leave it on nearby, especially with how big these maps are. It's a lot more relevant. Crosshair, this is important. You can change the opacity of it. Don't know why you would. But this setting right here, crosshair projection. So when I was talking about HUD motion earlier, this is the setting. It was one of the very first things I turned off. Basically what this is it can move around the crosshair based on like camera movement and things like that. And it's really odd and really annoying in my opinion, and it definitely, I'm sure, is having an effect on you if you are kind of struggling with understanding the gunplay. It feels kind of wonky. It's a very odd setting, and I'm not a big fan of having it on. So I turned it off, and it just keeps the crosshair static in the middle of the screen, and it makes things feel a lot more consistent. So I would very much recommend that if you are struggling to grasp the gunplay of this game. It helps a lot, especially when you're knowing, oh, I missed because netcode is not very good right now in the game, as opposed to, why is this thing bobbling all around my screen and whatnot. Of all the optional things in the game, I would recommend turning this one off. Crosshair thickness, you know, you boys leaving it on thick. leave a nice thick and juicy like. I have my crosshair color as yellow because this does stick out on pretty much any environment. You can set this to whatever color you want. By default, it's white. But as you can see in the snow, it would blend in, so I don't like that. You can have it on any other vibrant color. I would say yellow or red is your best bet to see in any environment, but I put it on yellow just because red is one of those colors that I struggle to see because of my color blindness. So yellow is always the best. Hit color, I put this as yellow just because it matches with the crosshairs, sticks out a lot. You can tell when you're getting hits a lot easier. Damage based shape, leave that on, tells me how much damage I am doing, especially since the damage number indicator is not actually in the game at the moment. You have no idea how much damage you do when you actually shoot someone. The shape helps. It's not perfect, it's not the best, but it helps. Headshot color, I put this on red, just a different distinct color from what a regular hit or kill is going to be, which again I have kills on yellow as well, so I just do this to distinctify and make it easier to know which one I'm doing. Lastly is armor. Armor is a trash mechanic that should be taken out of the game anyway, but since it's in here, I have it as a light blue just because it's very distinct and different from both the yellow and the red, and I can easily tell when I am shooting someone with armor. Minimap. Unfortunately, you can't change the size of the minimap, but you can set the different distances to whatever your personal preference is. I would definitely recommend turning it up because you can't change the size of it, so you can see more around you and what's going on and what kind of the flow of the battle is going to be. If you have it up really, really high, you can actually see a lot more of the battle and just the general gameplay, but it will affect things that are closer to you. I found a nice sweet spot at about 120. That's what I'm keeping it at so far. I may change that in the future, but I would find the one that works the best for your gameplay style. Same pretty much applies to both the ground vehicles and the air vehicles. Find whichever gives you the best amount of information that is relevant to you and your play style. Now onto the audio. I don't turn the music all the way down. I know a lot of content creators do. I don't turn it all the way down because I like to hear it in the game, and most of my gameplay sound is pretty quiet in the background anyway, so I don't really worry about it. I do turn it down to about 70 just because I don't want it to be blasting in my ears when I am playing the game or when I still hear footsteps and what's going on around me. So everything else I leave on 100. As for the audio configuration, I have it on 3D headphones because that's what I use. Now, depending on your setup, you can change it to different ones. There's these two specific headphones. If you use either of these, you can set it for that. But there's all these different ones: speakers, night mode, headphones, 3D headphones. War tapes is a good one, especially if you're going for a cinematic experience. War tapes is really, really cool. So I've done that just to play around with it and have some stupid fun with it. It does crank up the sound of the chaos, and if you're going for a cool immersive kind of experience and just embrace the atmosphere, war tapes is the way to do it. But for now, I leave it on 3D headphones. It works. Hit indicator, it's only 2042 or off. Unfortunately, they took out the BF1 option from the beta, but yeah, I leave it on. In-world radio music. If you are an Easter egg hunter, get the in-world radio music on. I leave it on anyway just because it just adds to the atmosphere in my opinion, but you can turn it on or off. If you don't want to hear it, turn it off. If you do, leave it on. Does not really matter all that much. Controller, this is going to be big for a lot of people. So for me, I do use an Xbox Elite Series 2, and I have the paddles mapped out to basically I can get my gadgets, I can reload, and I can jump. So I don't change the actual soldier controls, but the soldier buttons I definitely do change because I like to push in the stick to slide. The slide is not very useful at the moment, so I mean, I wouldn't worry too much about it. They should buff it back. I really miss the way it was in the beta. It's kind of feeling like Battlefield 1 right now, but I have it on alternate because the kind of panic melees aren't really a thing anymore. So I just put that as the B button. It just makes it easier. It's just so much easier to move around, and if you do need to take your thumb off the stick less, that is an optimal thing to do for gameplay. So that's how I have it set up. Everything else I leave at default. I don't play around with it. Obviously you can change these to whatever your preference is, but I only mess with the soldier buttons. Everything else is fine. Now as for my aim sensitivity, everything like that, my little on foot controller settings, I play on a 70 aim sensitivity. This is purely personal preference. If you are new to FPS games, or you struggle to acquire targets quickly, or sometimes you overshoot targets, I would leave it on a lower value The default setting is 20, but for me, I've played this game for so long. I've been playing Battlefield games and other FPS games for a while, so I have it all the way up to 70. There's people out there that max it out all the way. I think it goes to just 100. Okay, yeah, it doesn't go any higher, but you can set it up to whatever is best for you. It's purely personal preference, but if you are a fast player, you want to play quick, I do like the 70 sensitivity. It works for me. It's what I've played with in both Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4. I like whipping around. I like being able to acquire targets quickly, especially in the chaos of the moment. Invert vertical look for soldier, we already went over this. That's a no. Field of view, already went over it. ADS field of view, already went over it. Soldier aim assist and aim assist zoom snap. These are very important settings. I leave regular aim assist on because it just slows down over the enemy. So this isn't like Call of Duty aim assist. If you're someone who's just freaking aim assist, oh my god. Like, this isn't Call of Duty aim assist where it just snaps onto someone. This is literally just the slowdown over the enemy. So this is just, it just slows it down. So you don't whip past enemies. You can feel where an enemy is. It's aim assist slowed down. The actual aim assist, the one people will complain about, is the zoom snap. I play with this completely off. I cannot stand zoom snap. It is terrible. You get to a certain point when you play the games long enough where it's a hindrance to your gameplay, because what it does is, say there's 2 or 3 enemies, there's multiple enemies, you're trying to acquire one of them, and it'll zoom snap to one you're not aiming at. It's also just a crutch mechanic, and you can very much increase your skill gap, your skill level, by turning this off, because then it's down to you and your ability to aim. You might be at a disadvantage at first, but I recommend at least lowering it slowly, and you can get better without the zoom snap. Personally, I wish this setting wasn't in the game at all, but it is. And if you are struggling to aim and acquire targets, fine, leave it on. But at a certain point, I recommend turning it off, not just for the broader community and the experience of the game, but just for the fact that you can become a far better player without it. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy that almost limitless cap that comes with turning it off, as opposed to getting to a certain point to where it is just literally a hindrance. Now on to movement. You have soldier sprint. I toggle this instead of hold it. I don't want to destroy my left stick, so it's just a little click and I'm sprinting. Double tap, I wouldn't worry about it. Sprint button, it's the usual. Sprint to vault over. I leave this off because I don't want to like auto vault over things. Sometimes I want to run up to something and I will slide to it, or I want to just crouch behind it. I don't want to just automatically vault over. That's just annoying. Always use traversal sprint. No. The thing with traversal sprint is there is a penalty to stopping and ADSing. So if you run up on someone and they're not sprinting and you're traversal sprinting, you're gonna basically lose that gunfight, because you have your gun up and everything. You gotta have the time to put the gun back down. There's probably a penalty. No one really knows what the exact penalty is, but there is a penalty to doing that. And you're gonna lose more gunfights if you do that. Honestly, I would use traversal sprint sparingly, especially in close quarters combat, just because of that penalty. So I wouldn't turn this on. If you just want to use it and just run headfirst into chaos all the time and not really worry about it, knock yourself out, but I'm not going to do that. Soldier weapon zoom, leave it on hold. I did just realize that I hadn't yet set this steady scope button to the LT button. Definitely do that, because if you are sniping, you don't have to worry about, okay, I'm zoomed in, now I'm holding my breath. It's just, as soon as you zoom in, you're holding your breath, you can get shots off a lot quicker. It makes things a lot easier when you are doing that. It's going to help you a ton, and if you are a sniper player and you haven't done this already, I very much recommend that. Soldier zoom aim sensitivity, I have it on 85. This is just whenever you zoom in, there is a little bit of a slowdown of what your regular aim sensitivity is. So say you have it on 100 aim sensitivity, your zoom aim sensitivity is going to be 85% of that. So it's up to you. Some people, they'll have it insanely high. They'll have it above 100. I think it goes all the way up to 200. I mean, I don't know why you would do that, but you can. It's that's a little high for me, in my opinion. But to me, 85 is good enough. You can still snap to targets pretty quickly. You're not stuck on one and it takes forever to get to the other one. I don't mind it. I would recommend playing around and find out what your preference is, though. Parachute auto deploy is definitely off. I want to be able to do it on my own time. Air spawn parachute auto deploy. You can have this off or on. I haven't had any issues with it, so I just turn it off because I want to be able to assess the situation and deploy my parachute whenever I want. But there are definitely times where you might want this on. I haven't run into any situations where I would want it on yet. Quick throw grenades. Now this is an interesting one. A lot of people are kind of iffy about the way grenades are implemented in 2042 because you have to select them and then you throw them. Turning this on, honestly, it has been good and bad. I mean, there's definitely negatives to either option. I thought when I turned it on, it was going to be whenever I press the button, you just automatically throw the grenade. That's not exactly how it works, though. You select it, and then it slowly goes into the animation to throw it, and it throws your entire inventory of grenades if you don't switch back to using like your weapon or something like that. So it's good because it feels a little bit faster, and you don't have to start pressing all these other buttons. It just starts automatically doing it, but it's still weird. It definitely takes some getting used to. I'm gonna keep it on, and if you want to try having it on, you can go for it. But so far, they both have negatives to them, for sure. There's negatives and positives. Having it off offers more control. Having it on is a little bit quicker. It just depends what you want to go for. Either one is not going to be perfect, though. Revive interaction. This is a big one. I turned this to toggle, so it's just a button press. So I can move around and look around while I'm actually reviving someone and I'm not destroying the X button on my controller. It's just one tap and you revive them. Pretty easy. Obviously it still does the animation, but I highly recommend changing it to toggle just because it's so much easier. Like, I very much find this as a really nice quality of life improvement to have it on toggle. Request skip revive, leave that on hold, just more player control. Advanced. So down here is important, aiming left, right, acceleration. I turn this all the way down to 0. I want to say Battlefield 1 has it, what the 100 setting is on here. You can turn it off in Battlefield 1 as well, but the default in Battlefield 1, if you liked the way that the sticks felt in that game, would be 100. Battlefield 4 was 0. I have it on 0 for one reason only. It's not because I like or dislike a certain game or the other one. It's just because it's more consistent. It will accelerate your speed of turning if you have it on 100. So maybe for playing at like a low aim sensitivity, you might want it on, and that can just help you out a little bit and making moving around easier. But it's very inconsistent, and you're not going to have a very consistent feel of turning around. Whereas leaving it on 0, it's going to maintain the same speed and sensitivity no matter what. And I like that. Consistency is huge. Vertical aim ratio, I haven't really messed with this. It feels fine, I guess, at 48. It seems like something I wouldn't mess with too much. It is the ratio of vertical aim to horizontal aim for the soldier. I've left it on 48. I may change it around, but right now it feels okay at 48, just with recoil management and everything. With the vertical zoom ratio, I've left it at the default. Uniform soldier aiming will basically take your ADS sensitivity and make it the same as your regular sensitivity. So if you just want to quickly play with 100% of your regular aim sensitivity, you can have that on. I leave it off just because I like to have it a little bit less. So it's up to you. Down here, you can change the different aim sensitivities depending on the zoom of your scope. So you can play with that if you want. I don't really mess with it. Again, I like consistency across the board, so I don't touch it. But if you like to have, say, slower aim sensitivity on your sniper rifle with 6 or 8, 10 times scope, you can do that. I don't. I just leave it all the same. That's it for on foot. For vehicles, we've gone over this. I use the 70 aim sensitivity across the board. Again, consistency is just what I like. Invert vertical look for tracked vehicles. Leave this off. Again, we've gone over that kind of a thing. Third person field of view. Tank aim sensitivity, gunner aim sensitivity, transport vehicle free look sensitivity. I just left these all on 100. So this scales the vehicle aim sensitivity setting. So this is going to be 100% of the 70 aim sensitivity. You can go higher than that, you can go lower than that. It's very much like the ADS aim sensitivity. Those are the same kind of a thing. Actually, let's put those on 85. Look at us discovering things on video. Vehicle weapon zoom, let's just leave it. Invert vertical look on aircraft, I already went over that. I turned that on. You don't have to have that on, it's just what I like. 70. Helicopter control assists automatically hovers your helicopter when no input is applied. So if you just want to hover for a minute, you can do that. Here, why not just leave that on? Doesn't make any difference to me. If anything, it'll just help. It's not like the skill gap on the helis is all that great anyway. All the stuff down here, same as my regular on-foot settings. I'm not going to change the left-right acceleration or the aim ratios. Just going to leave them as is. And there's controller tuning. I leave the vibration off. I do turn down my dead zone on my sticks. The reason for that is because it gives you a little bit more precision with your sticks. It's not going to feel as delayed when you start to move the stick. I really like 11 and 13 for both of these. Just feels right for me. If you do it too low, you'll start to get stick drift. And if you do have a controller with some pretty bad stick drift, I would leave them on a higher setting. But I have turned it down to 11 and 13. It works well for my controller. For the triggers, turn these as low as possible. You want to be able to ADS and shoot as quickly as possible, and especially if you don't have an elite controller or a scuff controller or something like that, you definitely want to turn these down. It's just going to make everything a lot quicker, a lot snappier, a lot easier to ADS and shoot quicker, and it's just everything reacts quicker, and that's what you want, especially in an intense gunfight. As for accessibility, menu narration, I leave it off. Convert is just preference. Motion blur, we've already gone over a lot of these. Turn all these off. Crosshair projection off. A lot of stuff we've already gone over. Subtitles, you can have those on or off. Controls, already gone over a lot of this stuff. Controller mapping, this is all personal preference, whatever you want your controller buttons to be. Just depends on what kind of play style you want. This is definitely more customizable than just the regular controller settings menu. So if you really want to get deep into how you want to customize your controller and how it's going to work, you can go into that. I leave it at the default and just change the buttons to alternate in the controller settings, but if you want to go deep into the changes, you can go there. So anyway, that is all for my options in Battlefield 2042 for my settings guide. If you have any questions about the settings, want to have any kind of explanation of how a certain thing works, feel free to ask in the comments. I would love to have a conversation with you guys. Thank you so very much for watching. This is a long video. I apologize, but I hope it was very in-depth and full of information to help you. Let me know down below if it did. I'll see you guys in the next video.